Yeah, it's Friday night. My name's Jimmy. Hey, Clyde Lewis listeners, welcome. Welcome. I think I see something there. What the hell is that?
The mothership has Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern
CPR street gang, go to the fighting. Standing by, over. Go to the fighting. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
clock's run out. Time's up. Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. A broken house, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
What's that smell like, fish, Mom? Do that really want to know? What's that smell like, fish, baby? Good if it really wants to know. Smell like pudding and it ain't on pie. Same thing that you know you have to buy. What's that smell like, fish? Good if it really wants to know. I mean, good if.
What's the problem?
Smells like fish in here.
What is that? What was that? Some sort of signal? Huh? Is that a signal? No. Do I know what?
No, it really does smell like fish in here.
You're a good cop, ain't you? That's it. Show these guys what we do to cops.
It's Friday night. My name's Jimmy. Hey, welcome to the party. After the after party, the underground, the alternative to the alternative. It's Friday night. My headphones are driving me nuts. That's exactly how rumors get started. But I'll tell you what, tonight is the night. I'm gonna roast some trolls. It's troll roasting time. That's right. So stick around if you like comedy, you like stand-up comedy, you like to heckle comedians. Stick around. Got a good show planned for you tonight. You want to dance, you got to pay the band.
this is what I want on tape. Soleil not smiling.
German. Oh, yeah!
I am here.
Excelente. Well, these dudes just got taken out. Some kooks just got taken out in the soup. Some kooks there's some kooks out there, aren't there, Epic? No matter what happens, you go out in the water, you're on your board, you're sitting there, you live there on the island, you know, it's kind of where you live, and there's some dudes there, came over there from someplace else, they ain't from here, they ain't from around here, you know.
You ain't from around here, are you?
No, and they got rental tags, they got rental plates on their car, you know they're not locals, you know, but you tolerate them, man, you tolerate them. You know, as long as you can. I mean, you know, you got to turn the other cheek. You can't go full surf Nazi, can you? Remember the surf Nazis?
Yeah, I do.
Back in San Diego, back in the day, the people would come down there and try to surf from out in the valley, from out in the, La Mesa, and they just surf Nazis would just kick your ass if you came out in the water, wouldn't they? There's all kinds of...
It was like that in North Shore on Oahu for a long time.
Was it?
I'm not part of that culture, but yeah, it absolutely was a thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
Yeah, there's a certain modicum of respect, you know, when you're in another person's domain, or you're over another person's house, or you're in a person's, general vicinity. Isn't it just, common sense that you want to, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, so to speak, and just, keep things on the up and up, keep things level, on the level, It's like, for the most part, we don't, there's a certain tone that's going on in the alternative media right around now. It's been going on for a bit now, and, since this whole thing has started with the situation. So, there's a moment of reckoning, a moment of truth, a moment of I want to say dystopia. The alternative media landscape is dystopic, because a lot of people their covers got pulled during this whole Q operation, because a lot of people invested quite a bit of their whole thing up in the Q thing just so they could go get some clicks. Because a lot of the people that follow Q were just regular Americans that want America to be what it used to be. And a lot of people took advantage of that. They felt either they, A, fell for it, or B, they took advantage of it. And so now you're starting to see this whole new genre develop out in the alternative media, where there's this it's comedy / sarcasm radio. It's like morning radio, only super sarcastic, and really caustic. You know what I mean? It's like Howard Stern, except for it's got heinous information attached to it, and like you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Bruce McDonald.
Bruce, there he is.
Welcome aboard.
I'm sorry, Bruce. There you go. Hey, come on in, Bruce. So what do you think?
Hey.
So do you think there's like a whole new genre that's sort of developing, and it's it's more of a / comedic, sarcastic delivery of the information, as opposed to just whether talking about it or discussing it or whatever. There's this whole like morning radio, good morning, discussing it or whatever. There's this whole like morning radio, good morning Vietnam, kind of like with all these dudes with fake voices, fake accents from places they don't come from. It's just these characters are developing that have actually nothing to do with reality, man. Characters, they're people. There's these make-believe fake characters, and not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with creating a fake character. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a little bit of a LARP for yourself. And hey,
they call that a persona on Broadway.
A persona, yeah, exactly. Well, so there's a lot of these personas around, And like I say, we're, this show, we've been around for a long time, man. We've done, you can go back and, we have fun when we do this show. When we go back and look at the shows that we've done, go back and look at the kind of information we drop on the show and how much before everybody else it gets dropped here. We're not fucking playing games over here either. But just know
Balls deep.
just know this, man. It's like we're over here smoking cigarettes looking for something to do. Okay, we've already done it, all right? We've looked down all these roads. We've already come to the conclusion. We don't need any more evidence to prove to us that we've been lied to. Do you? How much more proof do you need? So see, we've already proven it to ourselves. So we kind of come here and we like to do our show here, come after Clyde and hang out with you guys and take a look at this information and do it in a different kind of way, just simply because, hey, here it is. So is there anything wrong with that? No. Is there anything wrong with somebody being a character? No. Is there anything wrong with having a late night show? Like, for example, there used to be a show called Creature Features where the dude Bob Wilkins would sit around smoking a cigar in a big old chair and he'd watch movies. Okay? Now,
Elvira.
Yes. Well, I mean, did Bob Wilkins smoke that cigar, sit in that chair when he's at home? No. Probably not. He probably, didn't.
Elvira didn't dress like that.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with being a character, but then, where do you draw the line? Because now you get into this situation where you have these make-believe characters that exist outside of your own necessary reality. Like, for example, here's Bruce, and there's Epic Journeyman, and here I am, and we know each other here. And then there's all of you that are out there, the audience that are listening, and wherever you may be, around the world, in your car, at your house. We're all kind of gathering here together to kind of, come together, try to look at stuff. And so, we've sort of reached this point where now what's going on is that a lot of the people around the alternative media are now starting to turn their skill that they've honed going after the New World Order, that now they're taking their skill and they're starting to turn it around on each other. So it's going to start being a feeding on each other, feeding frenzy on the people that are left over from all of this shit that's gone on over the past 10 years in the alternative media, all the different operations that have been run over time, since it started. There's been different operations, different groups being demonized for periods of time, and then that gets relaxed, and then the new enemy comes in, and then that enemy gets beat to death, and then then they pull out the newspaper and put in a new enemy. So there's no actual difference between the social engineering that goes on in the alternative media as opposed to what's going on in the mainstream. It's like you're over here going, yeah, well, I know the mainstream, but I'm over here in alternative media. But I mean, I keep saying it over and over again on the show. It's like the minute you notice there's something wrong with the mainstream media, then you should automatically look at yourself and look around you and say, well, if there's something wrong over there, maybe I'm involved in something that I don't see. Because I mean, the propagation of false information and fear and all these different separation and all this different shit that goes on, and it's all. I mean, how much of it is actual people, or how much of it is actual social engineering? How much are we being prodded by things that we think are real but aren't really real? Persons doesn't exist. Persons over there making comments on your Facebook page, they don't exist. I mean, in the course of looking at stuff for the show tonight, I came across a term that I never heard of, you guys, and I want to turn the audience onto it. Hey man, have you ever heard of something called spamiflage? Spamiflage. I know, it's a weird word. Have you ever heard of it? Epic Journey?
I just saw it when you linked it today.
Well, yeah. Go ahead. I know, Bruce. Did you hear of it before we started talking about it? Spamiflage.
No.
Yeah,
it'll be in the Oxford Concise in 2022, though. I promise you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, spamiflage is a AI generated fake person generator that's used by China, and it was used in the course of the Wuhan shuffle to propagate information across the internet, whether it be false or real. The information was propagated by fake people. They had profiles. I mean, it was mostly built. This thing was built specifically for Facebook. So it was like some friend and friends you, and then a little while later they start telling you stuff, and you start getting this information, and you think it's real. There's really, we're gonna get into some of this now. We're gonna get into some of how, this is not like it used to have to be like there was actual people on this. In other words, when the fake 30 people in the chat room, the operators that are there, $2 per post people, or the fake rumor people, or these all this stuff, they get paid $2 a post. And it used to be like, hey, they'd be sitting around there in a building somewhere in these cubicles, just watching chat rooms. Maybe have 4 or 5 different chat rooms going at the same time, chatting and disturbing conversations with different types of techniques, like flooding the chat. That's a term, quote, flooding. And what this is when one individual sits there and starts typing in one sentence after another, hitting return, and all you see is that person, and they're not even talking about what's going on in the chat room. They're not even talking about what's on the show. They're just sitting there stroking themselves with saying their name over and over, and the thing about it is that it disrupts.
Eyes on.
It disrupts the rest of the people in the chat room who are actually there for discussion and enjoying the camaraderie of the rest of the people in there. So this is not accidental. This is done specific and on purpose. And it's mostly done just whenever anything gets going, where you do see people sitting around actually having a discussion, and you do see people entertaining issues, this type of thing. This is immediately when you start to see these infiltrators, these these pie eaters, these cookie eaters, these time wasters, man. Epic Journeyman, are you there? Because you have some personal experience. If you don't mind sharing with the audience a little bit about some of your past relationships.
Some of my exploits, yeah. Well, the thing is, if you ever have been on Reddit, right? It's true of any social media platform, but Reddit particularly, right? They had a real problem with trolling. A super problem with trolling that peaked in 2016-17, to where they had squadrons, no other way to describe them, of trolls who would work together as a team and go to different subreddits and just come in there and swarm, and do these attacks on the subreddit. And it was a game they played. And what got even better was that they started not even being just them. They each created their own bots, and these bots were made with a program called Python. They made Python bots, and they kept game boards for these things called these Python bots, right, to try to manipulate the subreddit and get responses. And it got to be such a problem that the admins of Reddit developed their own game called Circle of Trust. It was an April Fool's joke in 2018. Now, they will never admit to this, publicly, that that's what it was. But what it was a way to start finding these circles of operators that work together, these trolls, right? Because you get points for having your circle of trust expand and be broken. And the thing is that the people who are already doing that and already had their boards and already had their Reddit boards or scoreboards and things already up had an advantage. And so when they partook in this April Fool's joke, air quotes, ruse, for April Fools, it actually it exposed them for who they were and what they were doing, because they had a real problem. They had a real problem. It was going to defeat the platform. And you'll notice since 2018, trolling on Reddit has gone down quite a bit. There's still trolls, but not like in the kind of organized trolling groups there was before.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been around the alternative media for a long time. I've been in these chat rooms for a long, long time. Literally Oracle Broadcasting, back when Alex was, barely on, he was on the internet, but it wasn't really even a high-end broadcast at that point. It almost sounded like shortwave radios back when 56K modems were still, you could listen to audio on the internet, but it wasn't what it is today. And you know, so I mean, I've seen this stuff, you know, from a long time, and you know, it's clear, you know, I mean, and the thing is, I have been around it for a long time. So the thing is believe it or not, there's tone to people's chat dialogue. So in other words, there's tone, there's tonality, and there's context, and there's ways that things get said by certain people that, you know, I'm a trained observer, so I pick up on a lot of different idiosyncratic behaviors of people. And so a lot of times, even though people change their names, I know it's the same person because I can tell by how they phrase what they say and what they say and how they say it and how they flood the chat and this and that. And so the reason I was getting all heavy at the beginning of the show is because I was trying to say, you know, when people mess around with us or play games with us, okay, we turn the other cheek, man. You know, when people straight up steal our shows, like they went and watched a show we did like a couple months ago, and then they come out and do a show, and it's exactly the same as the exact show that we did, and try to pass it off like it's their original shit. Okay, this has been going on since we've been doing this show. Okay, we turn the other cheek. We don't go after people. We don't come right after somebody and go do a 2-hour special, starting with reverse speech, and then working our way backwards from there. I mean, do you have any idea who? I mean, listen. Everybody on this show is technical, and a lot of the people on this show are super technical. So the thing is, you know, we don't go around swatting flies. And the thing is look, we don't bother anybody, man. But if you wanna start some shit with us, then you know, I just say it's probably not a good idea, man. Just leave us be. We're not bothering you. We're not bothering anybody. And if you're not hip to it, you don't like it or whatever, like making comments about people that are completely untrue and trying to spread rumors, now that is a specific technique that is taught. I mean, the technique of, so one of the techniques is for someone to go start a blog, okay, about being somehow affected by some negative thing that somebody did to them, even though the whole thing is totally made up. And now this is part of what's taught in military intelligence. Okay, and this is done. It's done to other people in other countries. This is done by the military. It's done by the police. It's done by the lettered agencies. It's done by private citizens. Basically, when you put yourself in a position, you're put in a position every single time you do anything. Do you give somebody your cell phone number? Yeah, because you know there's programs out there for jealous husbands who don't trust their wives. You know, they can buy that for $19.95. Those jealous husbands, they can buy that for $19.95. And all they need is their wife's phone number, and then from that point forward, they're tracking their wife in real time, and they're opening up the microphone, and they're reading the emails and the texts and seeing all the posts for $19.95. And that's what the jealous husband can do. So what about some make-believe dude, troll dude on the internet? What about that? What about you give out your phone number on the internet? How about that? A lot of people in this business, a lot of people that do this type of I would call it work. They get death threats all the time. You can talk to anybody who's in this. You talk to anybody who does this type of thing and find out about what kind of death threats people get, what kind of stuff actually goes on. I'm not gonna really pull any real major covers right now, but I've been doing this stuff a long time. I've been around this a long time. around people, around the business of information, around doing shows, around investigation. You know, I existed before I was on the radio. And the main reason I got on the radio in the first place is because I built cell towers and I worked for cell companies, and I did it for 10 years. And I'm an expert in propagating wireless signal. But I did stuff before that too. Okay? I don't work for lettered agencies. But maybe I have worked for lettered agencies as a contractor. Maybe I have. You never know. I don't know who the owner of companies are when I accept a contract to do work. Right? So the thing about it is that, you know, any in the court of public opinion, any accusation can be made. Any accusation made unanswered is unanswered. Why do you think all these celebrities that were being accused of these heinous shit over the last couple of years, people accusing them of doing some stuff, whether or not they're guilty or not, I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing.
Tom Hanks be the big prime example.
Tom Hanks is a good example.
Hey,
well, so here's the thing. I don't know if he's guilty or if he isn't. But the thing is people can go out and make any accusation they want, and all they got to do is create an agreement reality on the internet with it. That you all believe that that's the truth. And now because you all believe it's the truth, you're going to pyramid...
don't want to run afoul of anybody these days.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Well, you create a pyramid scheme of truth. You know what I mean? It's like you get a pyramid scheme. You go, hey, Bob, if you buy $100 square, then I get to move up. And then you get the two guys that come in under you, you get them to buy $100 square. It's a pyramid scheme all the way down the line, man. And, you know, everywhere you look at it, there's people that come in, they get information, and then underneath them something develops. You know, and, you know, it's a control mechanism. At the point now where it's almost indistinguishable between who's real and who isn't. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what Elon Musk has been saying lately, like in the last month or so. He's actually come out and made some pretty bold and intense statements about the future, about AI, about how humanity has no actual perception at the level and speed in which AI is moving, and how far it's surpassing human abilities, to the point where you know, when you call somebody on the phone for customer service, is it a person or is it not? At this point, it's only a matter of you deciding whether or not you're okay with it or not, because most of it is robotic. I mean, when I call my local cable company, Bruce and Epic, when I call my local cable company, it is clearly a robotic voice, but they got to go so far as to put in the sound of somebody hitting a keyboard when I ask a question. You know, I just want to talk about my bill. Okay, well, hold on a second. You know, they wait a couple seconds. I mean, she could give me my answer right now, right? Why throw the scenery in there? You know, there's so much scenery.
Because the AI knows that it takes so many seconds to distract you and put you on another thought train. Get you diverted off the thing that's pissing you off to where you're more acceptable and pliable to the things they're going to suggest.
Looks like Monty Dean is ready to join us, and it's always good to have Monty here. So listen, while I'm hooking up Monty Dean, I know, hang on a second here. I know for sure that, you know, Russia Today, I mean, it's been, I think, about 4 years ago when I used to be with Kev Baker's show through the week, hanging out. There was some dudes that made a channel. They had a channel, and Kev Baker and I were definitely KGB agents. You know, because we had good things to say about Putin, I guess. I don't know what it was, but some dude developed a whole bunch of videos about Kev Baker and I being KGB agents. And then there was a whole bunch of other ones around magic too that we can talk about some other time. But anyways, you know, it's been going on since day one anyway. And so what we want to do is try to sort some of this shit out tonight and see exactly how many people are real, who's real and who isn't. You know, who's the real kook in the soup, and who's going up over the top.
If you're a regular internet user, you've probably perused a message board or comment section of a website and wondered why so many people write inflammatory, horrible, and downright insane diatribes. After all, in real life, most people don't communicate with each other through racist, homophobic, and nasty insults. So is it merely anonymity leading to this type of vitriol on the internet, or is something else at play? Well, thanks to a newly released Edward Snowden document by journalist Glenn Greenwald, we now know some of these comments probably aren't coming from members of the general public at all. In an article titled, How Covert Agents Infiltrate the Internet to Manipulate, Deceive, and Destroy Reputations, Greenwald outlines how intelligence agencies use online troll tactics to influence real-world outcomes. The documents were obtained by Greenwald from the UK's NSA counterpart, GCHQ, and its uber-secretive Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group unit, or JTRIG. See, JTRIG's mission is to destroy the reputation of specific targets by both releasing false and damning information about them and manipulating cyber conversations to affect public perception. And this program goes way beyond just posting nasty comments, guys. According to the top secret slides, which were shared with intelligence agencies in the US, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, JTRIG employs tactics such as honey trapping, where online affairs are created for blackmail purposes, changing the target's photos on social networking sites, writing blogs pretending to be a victim of the target, and even emailing and texting incriminatory messages to the target's friends and colleagues. But JTRIG doesn't just stop at sabotaging specific individuals online. The unit also employs tactics for taking down entire companies. These tactics include leaking confidential business information to other corporations or the press, posting negative information on online forums, and getting involved in business deals to ruin relationships. And just in case JTRIG's agents are still confused about what their mission exactly is, another site explicitly states that the whole purpose of the program is, quote, using online techniques to make something happen in the real or cyber world. All of this is summed up in the catchy slogan of the 4 Ds: deny, disrupt, degrade, and deceive. How cute. This type of behavior by intelligence agencies has been long suspected by some journalists and technophiles, but as usual, those concerns were generally dismissed as conspiracy theory nonsense. But in reality, the signs were everywhere. As Greenwald points out, as far back as 2008, Cass Sunstein, Obama's advisor and former head of the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, proposed the U.S. government use independent advocates to, quote, cognitively infiltrate online groups, websites, and activist groups. He even suggested agents go into chat rooms and social networks to spread false and destructive government conspiracies. Well, it just so happens the very same Cass Sunstein was recently appointed to the White House's NSA review panel. You know, the one proposed to token NSA reforms that were almost entirely ignored by Obama. Not to mention that in 2011, the U.S. military admitted to having developed software that allows one individual to control up to 10 separate online fake personalities, also called sock puppets. And when it comes to these type of tactics, other countries haven't even been secretive about their intentions to manipulate cyber information. According to Electronic Intifada, in 2012, the National Union of Israeli Studies partnered with Israel's government to offer students $2,000 to spread state propaganda on online social websites like Facebook. According to the documents obtained by the website, the program is an opportunity for Israeli students to, quote, provide haspara, the Hebrew word for state propaganda, that is correct and balanced to help in the struggle against the delegitimization of the state of Israel and a hatred of Jews in the world. Yes, because paying naive students to promote your official government message is a healthy part of any open society. But I will admit that there's another side of the coin which I recently experienced firsthand after talking about countries and corporate powers that profited from Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. The racist, anti-Semitic, and neo-Nazi comments flooded my YouTube and social media sites in uniform, honestly making me wonder if the effort was part of a larger coordinated campaign to discredit this show. And unfortunately, it's not just countries that are responsible for contributing to the growth of toxic online dialogue. It's corporations, too. As revealed on Breaking the Set by investigative journalist Dar Jamal, BP used PR firm Ogilvy and Mather to hire online trolls to attack and bully individuals who complain about the company's response to the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And we'd have to be naive to think that most multinational corporations aren't copying this exact technique of controlling their online image. After all, that's just 21st century PR. So, for every Machiavellian narcissist acting alone to dumb down and distort information, you might as well hunker down in your troll cave and get on the government and corporate payroll.
Not long ago, Rita Levi-Montalcini celebrated.
Better get on that $2 per post government tit. Huh. Go. Anyways, my name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. I'm sitting here with Bruce McDonald. Monty Dean is joining us. Monty, how you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Glad to be here. I'm ready for my shift in the troll booth. That's why I'm turned up. That's why I'm wearing my uniform. So.
Excellent. Well, good. I'm glad hopefully you got some snide comments and some.
Oh yeah, I can be a troll when I want to be. Well, actually, I'm a mirror on society. And the trolls need to leave the house. And that's ironic for me to say that, because I'm a hermit. So.
I know. Well, the thing about it is, too, when you think of a troll, what do you think of? I mean, are you thinking of like a little ugly green man under the bridge who's causing you problems?
Not physically, but mentally and spiritually, yeah. Because they're just, it's just total negative. Where they're just causing trouble because they're being paid to. Like you can have an opinion of like, I don't like this film, but if you turn it into a 3-week war campaign.
Well, I mean,
or if they're being ingenuous, or is that a word? They're not being genuine, where they're just throwing mud for no apparent reason, apart from just causing trouble. Or they're being paid to.
I mean the physical. I mean, when I say the word troll, what picture goes in your mind?
The stereotypical one is the fat guy in their mum's basement, but that's the stereotypical one. But it could be just a skinny guy wearing a suit. You never know. It could be across the board. Like, pricks come in all flavors and colors.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're governmental, it could be their mum didn't hug them enough when they were 3 and they just hate the world. And so they have to be good with computers, let's be fair, because they sort of have to, if they've got multiple profiles on different platforms, they have to hoodwink the platform enough to have multiple stuff.
So in no way, and when I say the word troll, does fishing come into mind at all? You don't think about fishing at all.
No bridges, no horns.
Well, let me point. Let me
ancient Scandinavian myths. Nothing like that.
So let me point you at a different viewpoint, a different perspective on troll. What the word troll means. Troll, for the most part, means fishing, and so trolling is what you do when you're fishing. And so trolls are actually that. They're just bait in the water, trying to get somebody to bite on it. And so the thing is a bunch of different things happen when somebody bites, and it all depends on the context of the information that's being presented in the chat room. For example, if it was a chat room about ghosts, okay, so let's just say all things are equal. It's a chat room about ghosts, so everybody in here believes in ghosts. So if I'm a troll, I'm going to put some bait in the water in this chat room about ghosts to get somebody to start conversation with me about ghosts. Now, once I know that you're a person that believes in ghosts, you believe in something that you can't see. I know that you are because you're here. And now you've confirmed that with our little conversation that we've had. So now, I mean, once I know that you're a person that believes in something that's invisible, that can't be seen or proven, how much further away from you are from the next little thing that I can convince you that's real? So the thing is, if I'm a con man, and I go into this chat room where everybody believes in ghosts, chances are I'm going to be able to spear me a nice fat fish in there. Now take away what I'm saying and put in information or political ideology or viewpoints, or it's the Jews, or the Earth is flat, or whatever it is. Whatever it is to come in and flood the chat room with a bunch of viewpoints and not let anybody have a discussion about anything. That type of thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to filibuster.
No. That makes sense. I'll add to it because I know Epic wants to jump in. Fishing is perfect because you put the bait into the chat room, and once someone bites onto it, you reel them in.
That's what I was going to say. It's not just reeling them in; it's keeping them on the line. Once you've thrown the bait out there, and once they've hit the hook, once you've hooked them, right? That's the key term. You keep them on the line, and that's the whole thing behind trolling, right? Is keeping these people that once you've got them hooked on the line with different narratives, however you want to steer them. You don't necessarily reel them in all the way. You just keep them on the line the whole time.
Yeah, it's time wasting. It's a basic level of time wasting because instead of good conversation and discourse and even debate, but in a polite way, you can either start gaslighting or make them angry, and you're just wasting time and a waste of energy as well.
It's perfected by the Soviet Union, yeah. I mean, they use disinformation as a way to, counter their military disadvantage, to attack the hearts and minds, so to speak, like we were trying to do in Vietnam. They did to us, right? To try to get people hooked on some kind of philosophy or some kind of momentum in a movement, whatever it was, and with pretty primitive tools, newspaper articles and magazine articles and, somebody in a demonstration, compared to today where you have a vast array of resources at your disposal to use for this, right? I mean, yeah, and it's different like now too, because when you have people who do it for fun, like these troll brigades that were on Reddit, for example, a lot of those people are just doing it for fun, right? Just to have a laugh with each other, be talking on Discord, be talking on the Hearthstone lobby at BattleNet for Blizzard. I mean, literally, I got them there, that kind of thing. But then, you think about the fact there's also people who are doing it professionally, get paid for it. Right? When you look and you see articles about influencers in the government or whoever it is or somebody else using influencers, not just talking about somebody's YouTube channel, they're talking about these troll brigades that go out there and influence people. In fact, Shadowbox, which is a company that was started to counter negative influencing for corporations and people and clients, right, was basically trolls for hire, but not in a different way. It wasn't just like normal trolls. I mean, it was an idea of going out and protecting your image. You'd pay for, like, instead of virus protection, it was troll protection by people who would also go out and counter that trolling. And it's bizarre because it never really took off the way that maybe they expected in a way, but the results of the fruits of that labor became things that have affected society. But what is really strange and really bad is that as good as people got at it, there's an AI, more than one, that does it better, right? And once that happens, I mean, all bets are off, right? I mean, you go ahead and you spend, however much money, however good the AI that company has it's offering for you to spam these bots out there. Like on Twitter, for example, you see things all the time now, just like you do with the news articles or news segments. You'll see where people say the same thing over and over. You have verbatim posts by people on Twitter that are exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it's just, they're bots. They're completely bots. And some of them are really simple bots that you can make at home, these Python bots. But other ones are organized and constructed by an actual organization, or worse, fed into an AI to keep people hooked. Once they found those people and targeted them, once they're on the line, that's it. Keep getting those things.
Get into an argument and have a Twitter war and everything else like that. Just as an example, a natural troll, and help me out here, work with me. Apparently, everyone hates Nickelback. Have you know what I mean?
Do they though? I mean, exactly. That's a great example. That's
like,
a troll.
Really, how could Nickelback?
Or Bryan Adams.
They sell
exactly.
beans of records.
Whoa,
they sell
whoa! What are you saying about Bryan Adams?
No, Canadian respect here. Yeah, no, that's true. Like that, you'll hear that as a joke all the time. Bryan Adams, the most hated man in music, and Nickelback, the most hated band. Yeah, no, that's true.
It's always the Canadian bands.
What did they ever do? I mean, but for some reason,
I mean, I've got 2 Nickelback albums, and they're professional as fuck, and they play stadiums, and so it's that absolute statements of everyone hates Nickelback, then how are they still existing and creating records and selling them? And like a lot, not like my level of record selling.
Well,
they're selling in millions.
It's not that everybody hates Nickelback. It's just the cool people hate Nickelback, and there's a whole majority. They're probably the same people that are, part. Here, man. Whenever you play Bryan Adams, it is about as racist of a move you can do because he is the whitest man on the face of the earth, ladies and gentlemen. Let me present the whitest man on the face of the earth, Mr. Canadian rocker, Bryan Adams. Man, you know how much money this dude made off this song? And it's weird too, this video. I just gotta say, we're not deconstructing pop culture tonight, but I'm just saying, I'm just watching this video here, and it's kind of strange because Bryan Adams is in a bathroom with a switchblade and a black leather jacket, and he's sitting high up on the top of the stall wood, and there's a woman. There's a girl, okay, and she is about to take a leak, and she's sitting down in a stall, and Bryan Adams is outside, and he's got this apple, and he's carving the skin off the apple, and he's singing this.
Who is he and tell me what he means to you? Oh yeah.
So now she's got a locket. She's wearing a locket, and she's taking it off, and she's throwing it away. And he is saying, "Who is he, baby? And what is he to you?" That means he's like stalking her, and her boyfriend's outside of the bathroom. She just came in to take a leak, and now Bryan Adams is in there lurking around. I don't know, man.
Took it all for granted, but how was I to know you'd be letting go? Now it cuts like a knife, but it feels so right.
Yeah, it's the key to her heart, right? Yeah, it's breaking the ties with the relationship.
Yeah. Now he's just sitting in the snow. He's in a blizzard. He's got the same leather jacket on. He's crouched down. He's rubbing his hands together. He's saying, There he goes, the whitest man on earth, Bryan Adams. What do you got?
He sounds like the biggest stalker because of those two songs of what you described. It's like, who is he while cutting up an apple? It's like, yeah, someone's gonna. Yeah, it's have to cut, but it feels so good. It's like you sound like a serial killer.
I know.
And now he's in the middle of a field covered in snow, and he's going to run to you. And like,
I know.
I think Bryan Adams needs to be under house arrest.
I know. There's something funky going on over there. But I don't, I mean, there's a bunch of these. I mean, one of the best bands ever is April Wine. I'm sure if you're Canadian, you've never been to a bar and not heard a cover band play an April Wine song. Bruce, were you a big April Wine fan?
Not huge, no, but everybody knows who they are in Canada, for sure.
Yeah.
One of my biggest Canadian bands that I like is the Tea Party, who have been around since like 91 or 1990. They made it really big here in Australia. It's so big that the lead guitarist singer married an Australian and moved here.
So hey, I just want to give you guys a message that I suck and I have no talent. So Rusty Shackelford over in my chat room over in YouTube. Good to see you, Rusty. You stick out like a sore thumb, bro. So
Well, if you suck and you're not good, it's like how many hours a week you're doing radio, and you'll continue. Once again, it's that Nickelback thing. Like, yeah, they suck. I want to suck that level. I want to sell that many records, and improve. Have enjoyment in people's lives. I mean, I don't want to hear that Photograph song ever again, but there's many other albums.
Oh man, it's all too much though. So the Epic Journeyman, I think, was going to check the perimeter. Bruce, now what's your experience on the Troll Farm? Have you had any experience on the Troll Farm?
No, not really a whole lot. No, I mean there's some colorful reviews on Amazon, but no, I haven't really experienced trolls. You can upset certain people certain ways, and they can express that. It's like a temper tantrum, but it usually wears off.
Uh-huh.
I think a troll is a whole other creature, man.
Well,
whole other assignment.
Yeah, and the other part of it is just the psychological problems that a lot of people do have. Find themselves in this echo chamber, this mockingbird echo chamber of negativity. It seems to there are a few people that do have problems. And maybe they should seek help. The thing is like what can you do? For the most part, I mean, if I was walking down the street, I probably wouldn't give most people the time of day. I mean, I'm just walking down the street. I don't walk up to people on the street, just look at some person and just walk up to them and start giving them the benefit of whatever I've been through or something that I've learned. Just walk up on the street to some random person and share the inner workings of my mind with them. But I mean, we sit out here and do it every day on the air. I'm sharing what's going on with me or going on in my mind or something that I see here or whatever. But, I mean, I don't know what the expectation is from people on some level. I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to do a jig for you? Do a dance? You want me to, roll out the scroll of my accomplishments for you? I mean, I talk about myself. I give you personal information about myself. I mean, how much of it do you need? What is it that you actually are expecting from people that are on the air? Are you expecting somebody to be on the air as that has some quality or something they're special and for some reason that they don't have they're not a human being for some reason? I mean, I don't really get the expectation. When I listen to the Alex Jones show or I tune into a radio show, the person is not my role model. I take everything with a grain of salt. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anything anyone says. If you say something, I'm going to go check it out. All right? It's nothing personal. It's just that I've been around the block on this thing for a bit, man. I'm just saying, I mean, people have got, out of control with like looking for a savior. I mean, it's like people are constantly searching. When I was in Alcoholics Anonymous, what my biggest problem was? I couldn't find a sponsor. Yeah. You know what a sponsor is? A sponsor is somebody that takes you by the hand and shows you the ropes and teaches you how to get through whatever it is you're going through. And you know what kept happening to me? My sponsors kept being human. Okay? They didn't have the supreme quality to tell old Jimmy what to do. They'd get tossed out because they'd make a mistake or they'd say the wrong thing or they didn't come from a certain place. That my filtering mechanisms and my sorting mechanism would sort them out immediately. So, I mean, where's the sorting mechanisms? Where's what do people expect? Do you expect a Superman to be on these airwaves? What do you do? What do you do? You sit there and make, noise over there for no reason? To what? I mean, what is it you're trying to achieve, man? I don't understand the energy behind it. I don't get it. If you want to do something, like for example, if you don't like my particular way of being here on the air, then hey man, you don't have to come in my chat room and say anything. Are you so compelled or triggered by some dude on the internet, some guy on YouTube, some guy going out over the airwaves on TalkStream Live in the top 10. I mean, is that what you want to do? Is just get yourself out here? No. Well, I don't get it, man. I really don't. And the thing is, the reason we're doing this show tonight is not because anybody in particular. It's just because the nonsense that's gone on over the past couple of months behind the scenes around this show with some of these people has literally gotten to the point where, the operation of trolling needs to be called out, man. I ain't calling anybody out in particular. There's nothing going on that I, in particular even care about. I don't see any of it. I'm not in there, so it's not bothering me, and it wouldn't bother me if I saw it anyway. But the point is that what's the goal? Because I don't understand it. There's no disrupting of any kind of intellectual capability or kind of delivery of any information that's going on here. So it's so far. As far as being on the noise level, it's super low down there on the noise level. We're up here trying to deal with what's going on in the world, man. See, we're all coming here on our own time. We don't get paid. Nobody's getting any money to be here. Been doing this for 6 years, man. I haven't got one single cent. Yeah, some people have donated to us on the here and there, and we appreciate that. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is, there's a lot of work that goes involved. I don't think people really understand when someone comes up on here and does a show what that takes. It takes preparation, it takes time, it takes energy. And people get they get the benefit of your interaction with them, and that's why people do it. That's why people come on here. That's why Clyde does shows. That's why people do shows, is because they want to give you information so you can make an educated decision. So, it's none of my business what a basketball player did before he played basketball. If he's on my basketball team and he's making baskets, then rah, man. When the dude takes off the uniform, it's none of my business, is it? Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to filibuster.
No. I just want to add to it. It's also there's like a spectrum between now I've got to remember what I was going to say. The classic flak over target. There's that, and then there's the other end of the spectrum where people just hate somebody or something because it exists, which is basically they have to deal with their own shit. Because why engage with something you hate where it's not doing any harm? Like, people actually hate Nickelback because they exist. It's like, why waste all that energy and time where you can ignore them and they're totally out of your reality? But there's triggering on whatever it is. It's especially then there's that, and then there's of course the paid disrupt because maybe the flak over target. But you know what I mean? It's in between that. But hating for something because it exists and they're not doing anything wrong, that's on you. You really need to do some inner work or seek therapy, because you're not doing anyone. You're doing everyone a disservice, including yourself.
Yeah,
well, part of it. Sorry.
Jump in here, Epic, because I want you to get in.
Part of it is about. So aside from the robots and the bots rather that are out there, and that's the most dangerous aspect we'll get into later a little bit, because once that got unleashed, it changes everything. I mean, a push of a button, and then all of a sudden, what you meant to just be something that maybe had a small effect is global. You know what I mean? It's spammed out there everywhere, and people don't appreciate the damage that does. But the thing about the stereotypical troll originally was that they're victims of conflict addiction. They get the adrenaline rise out of conflict, and so they pursue it. And the worst thing you can ever do is engage a troll, right? Because that's what they want, right? So they do it just for that rise that they get out of you. I mean, that's the original, going back to 90s chat rooms and stuff. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And they're still out there, but they are overshadowed by the current technology.
Mm-hmm. And it's super sophisticated too. I mean, it's not like, so the robotic AI aspect of trolling, it's all based on your particular temperature psychologically at any given moment. So, comments, these type of things, all of them are designed specifically and weaponized and pointed directly at you based on your activity. The 3 points, your social interaction, how much you go outside, physical activity, all these different things all light up a certain frame. And when you have these certain things lighting up, then it's easy to push your buttons. So pushing buttons for someone to just appear somewhere and start saying stuff, kind of like your mom. So like your mom's known you your whole life. So if your mom wants to make you feel bad, she could throw every single failure you've ever had right in your face. No matter how good your information is, you're emotionally going to be destroyed by the things that are said by your mom because she knows everything about you. And so the thing is, it's kind of like that. Only it's your mom weaponized with an AI that's moving in milliseconds. Literally.
Yeah, bring up, remember when you ate and you did this? And like, thanks, Mum. I don't think we need to know about that. And it's very similar to cancel culture where, did you catch, Bruce, I'm wondering if you did, Bill Maher, is that his name? The comedian?
Yeah.
He basically talked about the woke Olympics where the audience didn't know where to laugh. Because he would make a point, and also then later on he'd do sarcasm, and he had to keep looking at the crowd going, "You laugh here." But 3 organisers from the Olympics were removed days before it started, and one went back to 1990. He did a sketch about something in 1994.
Yeah.
That's a level, and it could be stupid level stuff where, like, instead of saying castle, he said castle. This is the level of insanity that we're dealing with as well.
Yeah.
Well, the one guy, the guy who created the entire Tokyo Olympic show, he was in charge of the whole thing, right? At the administrative level, did something when he was a kid, a child, right? He was a bully as a child. He admitted he was a bully as a child. He's an older guy now, right? And they kicked him off the team. The Olympic planning team. What the hell is that, right? Come on, right? That's a little bit different from trolling, but it's not that different in the sense that the people who are ready to pounce, right? Everybody's ready. They're tied up and wound up and ready to spring into action all the time. Well, why is that? That's because they've been trolled, right? They've been trolled to be that way. Like, that's really the objective of some of the stuff. We get a sophisticated breakdown of what this is trying to achieve. It's not just, getting a rise out of you like old school trolling is. No, it's trying to put people into a spot where they're going to be wound up like a wind-up toy and ready to be sprung into action on a trigger word or a trigger event, right? And that is extremely dangerous. And that is what we're starting to see more and more. And it's not going to go away unless we start addressing it openly like we are trying to do tonight.
Yeah, and it can be used. Yeah, and when you actually express something like, "Please stop hitting your child," a bad example, but you get called a troll for actually pointing out your own opinion, which is based on fact. And if you know what I mean. But it's, if I can sidestep quite a little bit, it's hard to find satire and parody nowadays. You have to check everything. It's like, are you saying everything is so nutty where people get triggered for one thing, then you've got teams of people trying to, because like Stephen Crowder, as an example, he's got 4 million subscribers on YouTube and everything else, and people are trying to take him down a peg because they think he's dangerous because he's that popular.
Muy dangeroso.
Yeah, man. You're going to do some bad stuff, man. You're hurting the children.
Say hello to my little friend.
And say hello to my big friend after that. You're totally screwed now, eh?
It's Into the Microcosm Friday night. We've gone off the rails. It's been a hard week. All week long, it's been one show after another, Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, right here, immediately following Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero. And those guys have been just kicking ass every single night. Man, it's they spark creativity and a lot of energy and juice flowing into the microcosm. And we really appreciate being here on the platform with the big man, Clyde Lewis, and Leah Zagani, and David Knight, and Billy Ray Valentine, and Mr. Gates the Haterazzi, and Steve Pekoinen and Slow News Day. The list goes on. $79. It's a 1-year membership for the time being. You can still get a chunk of that if you're interested. Come on down, become a supporter. They extended it. Our 1-year anniversary was last month, and so we've extended it 1 more month. So if it's something you want to do, you got the bread, and you want to throw it down and come on behind the wall there of freedom. Come on down. $79. I think it's $6.67 a month. I think that's what that adds out to. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I know, it's somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'd like to point out a positive thing. If you see a troll behind the paywall, just remember they paid money to do that. It's like you still lose. You get thrown out, and they keep the money. So, it's a win-win situation.
It's almost like being a comedian, getting part of the door. You get part of the door, but then somebody heckles you. You still got their money in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you still got the cover charge. They paid to get in.
Yeah, and then I've heard a couple of stories about comics where the heckler turns up to the after like the comedians finish the show. They come up, oh, that was great, dude. You were just screwing with my act. You ruined everything. Oh, I was trying to help. I don't need your help.
Hey, it's Into the Microcosm.
Just another way to survive.
There they are, the red hot chili peppers. And so there we go. Let's get these phones opened up. So, if you want to troll and text, give me a call and troll me in person on the air right now. What's our phone number? 626.
I think it's 626 999 4761.
626-999-4761. Here's your big chance. Give a call. Give us a call. Let me hear what you got to say. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. So there we go. So then, Epic Journeyman, get into a little bit about the troll bots and the Python program and these different avenues that people can go through to create these whole scenarios where there's groups of people actually doing harm to people.
Yeah, for sure. It got to be such a problem on Reddit, like I said, that they did that Circle of Trust April Fool's air quotes joke to get people involved in this game, and in 2018. And the thing about it is it worked. It helped identify some of these circles of friends. These they call it brigade trolling. Trolling brigades. And what they did was they made these lines of script with Python that would make comments, just like those Twitter comments I alluded to earlier, that would show up and just be 100 different users saying exactly the same thing, right? Well, what they did on Reddit and another social media, but we're going to focus on Reddit for this point, is that they would gamify the system, literally use the different subreddits as a sandbox, right, to where you get awarded a certain amount of points for getting a certain comment, like somebody saying fuck, for example. So whoever got that gets so many points, or F you even better, right? Or got banned or whatever. And so there's a whole hierarchy system, and there was a little subculture being built there that was starting to grow, where these people got into making these little lines of script in Python. And the thing about it is that exact thing, there's videos on YouTube right now to how to troll your friends with Python, how to spam their email with Python, all these things. It's an actual, like I said, a little, almost like a little club, a little clique, But the thing is that's minor compared to what can be done by some professionals, right, who know exactly what they're doing and can elaborate on that very context or concept, rather, and take it to the next level. And so the thing that people don't appreciate is the idea of the force magnification aspect of it. How you can take a concept, something you want to promote, right, or demote. You can try to take something and try to make it, it's a way of being defamatory without being called defamatory, right? Just having people make comments that aren't really people, that slight your, the work that you do. So it could be political, it could just be against a person or whatever. Like we were talking about how for back in the day in the 90s, you could spend $200, which is a lot of money back then, to track your wife's phone, for example, or your girlfriend's phone, and get their location data and what they're, all that stuff, right? And like you're talking 1995 today, that's pretty much true, And you say, well, they can't do that in America. Well, they don't work in America. You go into some company in England or some company in Germany or whatever it might be, or some East European company, and they operate out of there and skirt our rules. Your number doesn't change. Your IP address doesn't change, right? So there's a whole cottage industry that's sprouted up out of this. And these influencers, air quotes, are not just the people making makeup videos on YouTube, right? So when you see that term used now, that's being used by governments and companies and corporations and people alike, right? And the amount of influence you gain is dependent by the money you're ready to spend to, promote what you're trying to do. So it's, like I said, extraordinarily dangerous. And the thing is that I don't think that we've caught up with it. And the fact that Great Britain just, I think it was day before yesterday, it was the first time I saw the article, said that subconscious nudges are okay. In other words, saying subliminal messaging is okay. I can't even believe that, right? Like that just blows my mind because that opens a whole other domain. Now, if that happens here, it's not been regulated. It's one of those cases where these kind of technological quirks that could be exploited, technology is moving faster than the laws and the protections and the rights of people are being moved in. These laws are put there to protect people. So the protections lag the technology. And the escalation of this with the fact that you have more advanced tools available to the people, these malicious deed workers, essentially, I know what else to call them. I mean, it's something we may not catch up with in time. And I hate that that's like fair porn. A lot of people say that, but no, it's real. I mean, that really is what's going on.
No, I don't think. I think being able to catch up to it is gone. I mean, that time is over. I mean, there has been so much forward movement over the last 3 years in AI technology, and to the point where it's growing at a rate that's exponential, to the point where it's beyond anyone's. It's beyond a lot of people's capacity to even understand where we are, because there's you guys have mentioned some software programs where you can just deliver a recording to it and it'll deliver back the text. That's one way of looking at some of this stuff, because at this point it's almost indistinguishable, the kind of conversational dialogue that can go back between something that's completely not human at all, and you'd think it's a human being. I mean, to the point where let's just say example, you're on Facebook, some person friends you on Facebook. You accept their friend request, and then they're a good-looking woman or a good-looking man, and they start sending you messages back and forth, and you're messaging and this and that and the other thing, and they send you all this incriminating shit, asking you all weird questions and incriminating stuff and all this stuff, and they're sitting there taking screenshots of everything, and because they're trying to build a case against you. So with every single move you make, every breath you take, somebody's building a case against you. And the thing about it is, it's legal because everything's being recorded, but it's not necessary for a warrant until you become a subject. See, when you're an individual, you're just out there in the pool. But when you become a subject, that means that now somebody's looking into you. So now you're a subject, and you're going to be looked into. And so being looked into, what does that mean? Well, it used to mean there was like gumshoes, just like, Adam 12 or whatever, walking around asking questions like this. Nobody really has to ask questions about you anymore because you leave footprints everywhere you go, no matter who you are. And if you think you don't, Well, just remember that, someone developed the technology to begin with. So no matter what you think, there's always something there that you don't know about. For some reason, the calls are coming in. I want to take your calls, but for some reason, Skype is just, it's hanging up every time I try to answer you guys' call. So I don't know, Bruce, if you want to do that same thing we did last night, if you're into that. Some of this stuff might not be too pleasant. I'm not sure who's calling and what they're calling about, so could be anything. And you're going to have to be the man with the finger on the trigger over there, on the button. Simply because we're on Aftermath FM right here, late night style, immediately following Clyde Lewis, 10:30 Pacific every night, Monday through Friday, right here. Nice to see you, TalkStream Live. Good to see you, YouTube. Good to see you, Aftermath, everybody. It's great to have you here. And it's Friday night. And so I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I just went and looked at the settings on my Skype. Everything seems to appear normal. My bill is paid. I'm not real sure why these calls I can't merge the call unless there's been an update in Skype and I didn't refresh my update before. And and I can't do it now. Otherwise, the show will have to go away until I reboot it. So we'll just have to do it that way. And I'm sorry, I want to take your calls. There you go. So what are you guys up to over there? You guys ready to listen to some Kid Creole and the Coconuts? So 937, you're on the air.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, sorry, I was having problems getting in. I was just...
Yeah, for some reason, so everybody else that's on the call is now not on the call. So it's just me and you now here. And then when we hang up, I have to go back and get those guys. So
that's fine, man.
Yeah, so... okay, there he goes. All right, hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to go back on the other call. Hold on, let me call this guy back. Hold on. Hang on. I'm going to call this guy back because he didn't get a chance to say why he was calling. All right, sorry about that, 937. Hey, 937. Hey, I just wanted to call you back because you were calling for a reason. I didn't want to hang up before you got a chance to say what you wanted to say. So let me. Did you have something to say about the trolling?
Well, honestly, there's. I'm a little disappointed about what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. I like you, and I like the people that I'm hearing some negative comments about. But I was honestly testing your phones because there was some people that when you said, "Hey, if you want to troll me, call me in live," they tried to call in, right? Mm-hmm. And it went straight to voicemail. So I was just trying to test these phones, and I'm trying to coordinate with them to call in with you to see if we can level this shit out a little bit.
I'm all
not
good.
Down with
hey,
it, right?
I'm all good, man. See, like I said earlier, it really doesn't bother me, but everybody seems like they want to get my attention with this stuff. Yeah. And so the thing is like I said, I haven't pointed anybody out specifically, and I haven't really mentioned any names. And so if anybody's upset right now, it's because they're taking whatever I'm saying personally. And so, you know what?
Right. And so all I was doing, I was trying to check the phones, right? Make sure that we could get in. We were having problems. but there were some folks that wanted to have a discussion, and I was trying to make that happen and trying to see if we could make it work. That's pretty much what I was trying to do. And
yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. So that's why I wanted to call you back, because I was in a hurry, because I didn't realize when I saw that this call was going, the music was playing, and I didn't realize that everybody else, all the other people that are on the call, were gone. And so so that's why so that I wasn't hanging up because I didn't want to hear what you had to say. I was just going to try to get back to the show because I have, the guests here and stuff. And so now we'll try to get it figured out, man. Like I said, I don't take any of this stuff personally, man. You know what I mean? I'm just here doing a show, and that's what we're doing, is a show. And that's
and I don't think you do take it personally. But me, see, I'm on the backside here, right? And I like these people, right? And
Hey, something just happened. You just hung up on the guy. I'll call you back in a second, okay? Hang on a second. No, I want to get him back on here. Hold on a second.
Playing field.
Sorry about that. Listen, somebody called and you went to hold, so come back again. So you were saying right where we lost you is when you were saying you like these people and stuff, and so go ahead again, please.
Yeah, so yeah, I like these people. I like you, and I really don't, necessarily like what I'm hearing. And I was just trying to level the playing field, make sure they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's what I was trying to do.
Hey, listen, so for whatever reason, there's something going on with this Skype, so it's not letting me merge calls. It's not that I don't want to take calls. Look, if you have something you want to send me, email jimmygene27@gmail.com. Like I said, I'm not going after anybody in particular. I haven't mentioned any names. I could, but I'm not. The thing is like I'm trying to say, half of the trolls that exist out there aren't even real people. They say things to inflame people that's not even real. So, and like I said earlier, we've been doing this a while, man. It's like I've got hundreds of shows on the internet, comments everywhere. Chats every night. I've been doing this for a bit. So like I say, we normally I welcome everybody, man. I normally would never even not let somebody be over in my chat if they were saying something against me or against the information. I would typically never make them go away. Okay, a couple weeks ago I did, because all of a sudden I started getting the We Are Legion sock puppet brigade over here making a bunch of. The thing is it's not constructive. We're doing this show for we're doing a show to have constructive dialogue with people here, people on the air. You guys call in. We put information on the table. We look at it. You guys see what you think. That's what this is. That's what this is. Yeah. So, but beyond that, the thing is like what I was talking about earlier is about people deciding what it is that they want. Because, there's something that's called a show where there's more to it than just the bare information. There's personality, there's creative license, there's joking, there's sarcasm, there's all these things that makes a show entertaining. So the thing is what people got to decide is if do they want their information to be given to them by an entertainer, or do they want their information to be given to them by somebody that does not have a stain on their frock, who doesn't have a flaw, who hasn't been taken advantage of, or hasn't been lied to, or hasn't said a lie? There's nobody perfect. And so if you throw out the baby with the bathwater because somebody may or not have a flaw, look, if you don't like somebody, just don't listen to it. There's no reason to go there and look. If I know, look, if I don't go around talking bad about people, man. You know what I'm saying? So like if I was in a business deal, I wouldn't badmouth somebody in front of my customer to get the deal. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of a person. Yeah. I'm just saying it's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. I don't even see it. I don't even know who's saying it. It doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is being emotionally taken advantage of by the AI in chat rooms, and not just here. And I'm not even talking. The thing is, how does anybody even know I'm talking about this chat room? I mean, I'm talking. I've been, I'm in chat rooms all over the place. You know what I mean? So the thing is that obviously, it's striking a nerve with somebody for some reason, but I'm not, and I haven't called anybody out. And as a matter of fact, earlier when I was telling you guys that I have, good skills, good observation skills, the troll that was over here in my YouTube chat room gave themselves away. So now I know who that person was that was in here before, making those statements. And it was somebody that was here before making statements that were, derogatory. So the thing is that it serves no purpose. So the thing is maybe people exist solely to cause discord in conversation and stop people from actually having a conversation. That's what these operations are really all about, man. So
yeah, you're right, Jimmy.
Let me get back to the conversation with the guys over there. I feel bad that they're over there, but I wanted to make sure that, I talk to you because I don't want you to think I'm not trying to talk to you. And
no, I don't think that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, so like I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, the subject is a subject. I mean, this is what we do here, on shows is talk about stuff. And so we're talking about this tonight just simply because it's come up. And, so I'm adding everybody back here onto the call. So there you go, Monty. How you doing? So for some reason,
I'm back.
Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, hey,
the Skype gods are angry.
Yeah, no, for some reason, for the last couple of days, I can't merge calls. And so for whatever reason, when he called in, I took the call, and then you guys went away. But I stayed on the call just because it was one of the callers. He was calling in regarding the chat room and stuff, and people were saying they were calling in, and I wasn't taking the call and all this. And it's not true. It's not that like I said, it's not that I don't want to take the calls. It's just something going on. And like I said, if you want to email me, jimmyjean27@gmail.com, email me. And
you're not trolling anybody.
No, and like I was telling the caller, you guys didn't hear it. I was telling the caller, it's not. I haven't mentioned any names. I haven't even said what chat room I was talking about. But people are taking it personally, and people are obviously getting triggered by what I'm saying. So I mean, I don't know what the reason behind it is, but I mean, like I said earlier, what's the purpose of it? It serves no purpose. It doesn't bother us. It's not like we're emotionally invested in anything anybody's got to say. I've been a man my whole life, man. I've had people taking shots at me my whole life. Go ahead.
It's the fun part of being a comedian as well, where I don't use self-deprecation too much, but I don't give people the chance to troll, because right now I'm a 47-year-old male in his Star Wars jammies, and I'm on a prison island called Australia. So like, troll away.
Yeah.
You don't give them. I don't give them. Yeah, that's the fun part of comedy. You can nail them to a tree quite easily. That's true.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the expectation is. Ultimately, I know that I enjoy talk radio. I enjoy listening to talk radio. I enjoy a lot of presenters. I love the Clyde Lewis show. So I mean, I listen to talk radio. I don't necessarily go in every chat room. There's some chat rooms I go into. I pretty much mind my own business, man. I don't bother anybody. You know what I mean? But what are you gonna do? I mean, at some point,
So, here's the thing. It's all open. You can call in. If you got something to say, call in and say it. If you think we're morons, call in and do it. I do it to other shows all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're here, and we're standing our ground, man. You got something to say? Tell us what you got to say. And you don't like something that's being said, call in and tell us why you don't like it. There's just absolutely no reason to be, scratching at the furniture like a cat in the chat room.
Just be prepared for a response. I'd like to point that out as well.
Well, see, I mean, that is part of the internet, and the internet is like a video game. In other words, in the video game, when you go down and play Grand Theft Auto, and you get all gangster or whatever. But when you get killed, you can just come right back. Same thing as like, in the chat rooms when people get all gangster. It's they can come right back. There's no responsibility. There's no physical manifestations for the most part on that. Not like at home when you're in the backyard and you step on a rake and that hits you in the face. That's reality. I mean, that's the real world. That's what happens. You step on that rake, you got hit in the face, and then you don't step on the rake no more. You learn about picking that rake up because, when you step on it, you get hit in the face. And so, that's the big difference between the internet and real life is that, the internet's an etheric space that realistically, we actually, unless we meet, like I met Billy Ray Valentine a couple weeks ago. He came up from New York out to San Francisco, and I actually met him physically. And that's the first actual physical person that I've met besides Clyde and Ron from Ground Zero. Well, and some other people down at the conference, but I just mean, for the most part, most of the people that I know, I chat with, or that I send emails back and forth to, or friends. A lot of the friends that I have on Facebook, I don't know those people. I've never seen them in my life. Why are they my friends? Why are they following me? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's the whole thing is kind of weird in general. You know what I mean? Why do people follow other people? Why are people just running around following people? You know what I mean? It's like a lost puppy looking for somebody to follow, looking for a savior to, get you to the end or whatever. I mean, what happens, there's been a lot of ignorance, right? Ignoring the part of something that's bad because it's serving your purposes. You know what I mean? You ignore the thing that's bad about something because it's serving your purposes, and so it's either bad or it isn't. You know what I mean? It's not good. The bad part's over here. It's like voting for somebody. He's the lesser of two evils. He's a thief and a crook, but he's your thief and he's crook. You know what I mean? You're willing to ignore that other stuff over there. So ignorance is bliss, right?
You're going Dutch reformer on us tonight, Jimmy.
Ignorance.
Jekyll, get the cow in the barn. Don't talk to the English.
It's into the microphone.
Don't trust the English.
Yeah. So
a sin is a sin.
It's Saturday now, isn't it? Saturday morning. Santa Cruz Mountains, Hawaii, Costa Rica, and Australia all on the same call. Isn't technology amazing?
It is.
It's cool, isn't it?
When it works, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
So, I mean, trolling is, it just, this thing has been around for forever, right? Like the Hollywood stars, they actually get the physical stalkers. Best stalker. Did anybody ever see Rob Schneider's short-lived Netflix show, Rob?
No, but I followed Rob Schneider in his incident with the guy who shot him with the electric gun or whatever, the stun gun, but he's sleeping. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, actually.
Oh, well, continue then.
Okay, so Rob Schneider, he had a stalker in the show, and they befriend each other. It's he ends up being the most punctual guy and always on time, and but stalking, and then the big thing now that I think the real dark side of the internet is digital gang stalking is a thing now too. And younger people can be driven to suicide and all kinds of stuff, right? It's like quite horrific. But, people hanging out in chat rooms trying to disinform, that means you're doing something right. I mean, somebody, it's funny because there's not really a lot of money to be made in this alternative media, but there's a lot of people getting paid nonetheless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that, when Cass Sunstein came in, during the Obama administration, there became this whole new way to make money on the internet, and you just see. I mean, you can see the degradation of, it's what did we call it earlier? The spamming that went on during the election around this vaccine, around the virus and stuff from China. So I mean, the spamming that goes on. I mean, and people are just shaped and then pushed into a direction, and then manipulated emotionally to spring into action, to go make those nasty comments, to go around and say all this bad stuff. Say stuff to people for no reason other than to just what I don't know, suck the energy out. It's like isn't it like a vampiric situation? It's like when somebody addicted to conflict, a conflict addicted person, epic journeyman.
Yeah.
So what they do is they're addicted to conflict. So what they do is cause conflict so that you get pissed, or anybody that they want to gets pissed, and then they suck the energy out and walk away, and never think about you the rest of the day, but you think about them all day long, giving them your energy, giving them your time and your energy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're their cup of coffee, right? That's the thing. They need that to get through their day. That's the thing they need, and it works. Conflict addiction is a very serious thing, and it's usually it's in substance abuse situations where you have interventions and you have some kind of therapy where people deal with it and they address it. But it's so common now that. And it's not identified. It's not identified as what it is. That's what it is. People get this. They can't let go, right? They need that conflict addiction. They always are looking for conflict. So that's why, there are people, let's say, on the political divide. We won't use which particular guy. We're just saying, but they'll bring up something just to get a rise out of people because they know they're not on their side of that equation. It has nothing to do with what they really believe. It's just they want that conflict, right? And they'll just say random things to get that conflict. That's a good example. Or just random people on the internet, the trolls. That's exactly what they are. They're conflict addicted. The old school trolls. They're just trying to get that rise out of you and fulfill their need for conflict. Because you get adrenaline rush and some other things that go on out of that. And usually what happens in the old school identification of conflict addiction, it was strictly based on trying to give up substance abuse situations where you needed that substance. The substance is gone. But in a relationship, let's say with a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of thing, they become abusive, right? Because what happens is they don't have that substance anymore, but now they lean on that conflict instead. And that's why it became identified. And I think it's such a pivotal thing that's going on in the world today that I can't believe more people aren't really onto it and clicking on it. And by clicking on it, I mean having it click in their minds, not clicking on it on the internet. and they should, because that is a big part of what's going on in the world today.
It is, and I mean, I was.
Lost audio for a second there.
Did we lose him again?
No way. Somebody called in, probably.
He's still on the call.
Yeah, somebody called in. So that's what it is. So he's got to nix the callers.
No, we're coming through YouTube, but he's lost sound himself.
Oh, it's the other way around. Hi, YouTube. We're still here.
No, I don't know what happened, man. My whole board.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
No, my whole board my mic channel went out, and there was
conflict addiction, trolling. They're out to get us now. They need that conflict.
What I was about to say was I wasn't going to get into this tonight, but now since we're talking about it, I will. I'm going to go dig up. There were about a year and a half ago, we did some shows where we took interviews from psychologically disturbed individuals. And we played.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we played some of these interviews, and you can hear some of these people, and when you hear what they have to say, and think to yourself about some of the people you hear on shows as guests or doing shows, and it's really, I mean, unless you're, the thing is it's pretty hard to tell. So I mean, I could probably play one of these and play a real person, and have you guys try to decide who's real and who isn't. I mean, who's a guest on a radio show and who's a delusional psychotic in an interview in a mental hospital. Because believe me, the one guy that I'm looking for right now, I'm scrolling for, is he's an interesting dude because he sees, he's a time traveler, and he sees apparatus in the midair that he can read when somebody asks him a question. So I'm trying to find this guy. But anyhow, you guys want to jump in here while I scroll for this thing, because I can't do both talk and scroll. I gotta type.
Yeah, we can probably go off a little bit on this idea, this concept. I mean, so it's not just the conflict addiction itself. It's the fact that that is being used as a mechanism, right? So I know you guys can weigh in on this a little bit. Like, what do you guys see it in now? Like, I see it all the time. Like, to me, it's like just so obvious. It's social media primarily. I mean, it's being used that way. But why are we all being led to that? Because that's what's happening to us. We're being led to that, right? To have this. It's like almost giving somebody the first hit for free, right? And that now, you get a rise out of that conflict addiction. It's not a dopamine hit; it's an adrenaline hit and some other different neurons firing. But once that happens, whether you expect it to be addicted or not, it affects people from all walks of life. It's not just people who are breaking up a relationship or trying to give up drug addiction. They've actually gotten to some kind of spat on Twitter or something, and now they seek that. They look for it again. I mean, that was the basis of a lot of the trolling that I saw personally on Reddit. Trying to moderate that place, not the whole thing, just my subreddit, but still, not only call it my subreddit I was monitoring and moderating at the time, rather. So yeah, I mean, it's very apparent when you know what to look for. It's very apparent.
Yeah, and also it's been used as an excuse by Hollywood when they release something that's shit, and a lot of people are vocal about it. Like, I do not like this. I mean, I was called a Russian bot because I didn't like The Last Jedi. They use it as clearly it's the Russians making this up, because I think The Last Jedi is a brilliant film.
Times have changed.
No one else would believe that, and it's like because this is still manipulating marketing and elements of mind control, and it's discourse basically. But it's fascinating to see it being used in the entertainment industry, like the latest show that came out on Netflix, Masters of the Universe Revelation. A lot of people don't like it because of free will. However, they believe that Rotten Tomatoes was review bombed because the trolls are trying to take it down. So they're blaming, instead of actually having trolls, because they don't get their own way, they're blaming the troll culture, if you know what I mean. It's at that level.
Oh. I'm sorry. You know what? It brings up something so important. Like if they were called back, remember the sky trumpets? I mean, I experienced it. I heard those. That's real. I mean, there is a real aspect to that. But also, it was used in guerrilla advertising for that movie Pacific Rim. Remember Pacific Rim?
Yes.
It was in the movie. It was all the time throughout the movie. And so they do that, and they never cop to it, basically, right? I mean, there's people who kind of caught them, but it's not like it was ever copped to by them. And that's what's happening. Like this kind of guerrilla marketing too, the way to affect the psyche, and what it is, and I hate to use the word because now it's overused. It wasn't a year ago even. Cognitive dissonance, where you achieve this sense of cognitive dissonance where you're susceptible to suggestion, right? And so you throw out a video there about this or that, and then all of a sudden you see this preview in a movie on a screen in the theater or on your YouTube channel, and you're like, that sound, I haven't heard that before. I'm gonna go check that out. Well, this form of manipulation for advertising purposes has become pretty sophisticated, and the fact that people don't even know about it just blows my mind.
Yeah. This is another thing that's going on. I'll just touch this briefly. There's a lot of technology being put into advertising now in ways that you might not be able to imagine. But as soon as I say it, you'll go, why didn't I think of that? So, I mean, they can get sex, age, demographic, and time and place on you now. And they can do that by keeping databases on device IDs, right? Because those device IDs are open. I mean, you can collect that data anonymously. There's companies, like if you want to know how many people there are between 18 and 24, female, Korean, South Korean, on such and such a subway platform in Toronto at 4:45 p.m. on a Friday, you can buy that data. You can buy that report. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And so again, this is my runaway train theory, right? Is that there's no Dr. Evil. The Wizard of Oz is not behind the curtain. This is just the train we created, and the conductors died. We don't know how to stop the train we started. It's just a runaway train now. And the private sectors get as advanced or more advanced than the public sector now. It's not all black ops and all this crazy shit. I mean, it's just what you can do now with just a statistician a mathematician, and an advertising expert. 3 guys open up a company. Those guys are going to be millionaires within 3 years, I'll tell you right now, with the data available to them. And then all they do is they make the data meaningful. They can get it to the point now, guys, where they can guarantee you X number of sales of a cappuccino at such and such a space. And it's like, 4 cents per hit, 4 cents per customer. And their targeting is so good, there's like a 96% chance the advertisement is going to work, and they're going to go get what you just advertised for. So it's like precision drone advertising. It's insane, right? So again, I see this as an invasion of our cognitive liberty. But everything is consensual. Walking around with your phone, and everything. So there you go.
Well, schizophrenia. What is it? When people say, "Oh man, schizo, man, you're schizo," do people even know what it means? I've done research on this particular idea. The idea that you can be overdosed on dopamine through social media behavior modification complex, and that if you are on the borderline of being psychosis, if you have psychosis, you can be shoved through a dopamine overdose into a psychotic episode, a schizophrenic paranoid episode. You might wake up in the parking lot of Walmart with a ski mask on and an AK-47 in your hand, wondering what you're doing there.
That's what I'm talking about today. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and this channel is about mental health education and self-improvement. If you don't want to miss an episode, click subscribe and the notification bell. This video is based on a viewer question from Joe PR. Very informative video, as always, Dr. Marks. Could you do a video on schizophrenia and its treatment? I would find it educative to have a psychiatrist's opinion on what is probably the most stigmatized mental illness in modern society. Thank you. Thank you, Joe PR, for that question. Schizophrenia is the most serious disorder that we have in psychiatry. It's much more than hallucinations. It's an illness where the person's main problem is being psychotic. With psychosis, you're not able to tell what's real and what's not real. I'll link a video in the corner that I did on psychosis. You can have psychotic symptoms like hallucinations for different reasons, like having a reaction to a steroid medication, just as an example. But with schizophrenia, there are several symptoms, and here's how we define the illness using the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. You have to have 2 of the 5 psychotic symptoms. Delusions, which are fixed false beliefs, and the person cannot be convinced that they're wrong. And this is more than believing you're the best at soccer, because that's subjective. This would be something like your spouse was duplicated from a skin tag taken from the outer quadrant of your calf. Hallucinations. These can affect any of your 5 senses. The more common hallucinations, though, are auditory, which are hearing things that aren't there, and visual, which are seeing things that aren't there. One important thing to remember is these hallucinations happen when you're completely alert, awake, and clear. This does not include hallucinations that anyone can have when you're falling asleep or waking up. Disorganized thinking. We call this a formal thought disorder. This is usually something that other people notice by the way you talk. You may answer questions in a way that's only slightly related to what the person said, and it makes sense in your mind, but the person listening isn't quite sure what you mean. And you may hear people say things like, "You're talking in code," and that's because what you say sounds related, but not really. And if you talk for a while, the person listening may not even remember what they asked. Another way you can experience this is having your thoughts get derailed such that you're switching from topic to topic. And the topics might be loosely connected and make sense to you, but the person listening, or to the person listening, it sounds like you're just trailing way off topic.
Ho, man. Ho. Hey, ho. So that's some pretty intense information, isn't it? I the first symptom there also made me think of what you guys were talking about with cognitive liberty and the cognitive anchor. And so if you had a cognitive anchor set that was not based in reality, you would be displaying the first symptoms she was talking about there. Go ahead, you guys. What do you think about this symptoms of schizophrenia?
Well, I personally think the vast majority of schizophrenia is consciousness interference from entities. And I think it's due to holes in your aura. And that's why, there's, I guess you could say, congenital schizophrenia. It's just in the family. That usually manifests between 17 and 21. Manifests very, very early schizophrenia. It's with you your whole life, and most people die of the medication. It guts the liver. They die in their mid-50s. Maybe they make it to 60. If they get diagnosed in this typical age. Now, what we started seeing in the last, 25 or 30 years are what the medical community is now calling drug-induced schizophrenia. They're saying there's a schizophrenia that can come about by smoking hardcore, high THC, hydroponic marijuana all day, every day. Okay? They're saying that can create breaches in certain people, or if you're predisposed to it, it might tip you over the edge. So it goes from a congenital disorder to something that can be manufactured now, which I find a bit disturbing too, right? But the principal characteristic of schizophrenia is the inability to delimit between an inner and an outer reality. That filter that this is going on in my head and this is going on in the world gets a little bit distorted.
Right.
But there's been some alternative research done into schizophrenia. I highly recommend a book, I forget the title of it, by a guy named Jerry Marzinski. And he worked as a psychiatric counselor for 20 years, and he's convinced it's entity association. He gives numerous examples of these guys telling him things they could not have known unless there was something spiritual to it. Well, like something a clairvoyant would tell you. He'll tell you the stories about their psychotic strength and endurance to pain. Like possessed people are like crazy strong. You don't want to get into a fight with a crazy person. They're just crazy strong, these people as well, right? So there's I think psychiatry is part of a black bag. I think it's part of one of the black bags they put on us in the Industrial Revolution. I don't want to go full Tom Cruise here and call it a pseudoscience. Therapy can be very helpful. Embedded trauma can be lifted by good conversational therapy.
Something just happened to Bruce. I think someone's trying to call in. What the fuck's going on here, man? Let me go back here.
Capital holders are resources, banking, insurance, and pharma. So, yeah.
Let me, I'm still having problems with these phones, man. When people call in, it goes to the call and it gets rid of you guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go over
while you're
just
digging into it, are you gonna try to get somebody hooked up again? Or
no, I'm not. Go ahead. I'm gonna just fix this.
It seemed to work with Bruce last night, so maybe we could do it that way. Yeah. It seems to be a problem with just that connection. We had a problem 2 weeks ago, valued listeners, and so apparently there's still an issue there. We don't know what it is, right? It's a problem with the call line, but yeah, this thing about the schizophrenia and involuntary psychotic reactions to things. I was talking about that tardive dyskinesia a couple days, or maybe last week, I guess, where they're actually treating they don't call it a disease, they call it a disorder, right? So it's on TV now, medications for it. And all it is the reactions you have to all these other pharmaceuticals you're taking that cause tremors and cause problems. And so what Bruce just said about the cracks in your aura got me thinking about it. Like, so we're talking about the shields being down for the Earth. That's exactly what it's like. You talk about the mesosphere being weak and the solar radiation, the UV count going up. I mean, that's what's happening to us on a psychic level or Earth level to our own bodies. You have these cracks in our world, in our aura, and it lets these things through. And so that your own motor functions start becoming affected, and they're overwhelmed by all this chemical intake that we're taking, from whether it be pharmaceuticals or things we actually ingest. And they have to make another medication just to treat you for it and name the disorder that they caused in the first place. I mean, it's amazing to me that you have a disorder called tardive dyskinesia that was absolutely created 100% by the pharmaceutical industry in the first place.
Well, do you think, I mean, to me, what I was putting forward earlier is that I think this, the psychotic tipping point is induced by the behavior modification complex, and I'm saying that people can be set off, and I'm saying that there's people on here on the internet involved in this internet that cannot tell the difference between reality and fantasy. And that's a big problem, because there's a lot of these storylines. There's a lot of these storylines that beg for attention, and the attention that they beg for don't have it.
Jimmy's still going on the YouTube, and we're out.
No,
there he is.
Hey.
I don't know what's going on with these phones, man. I can't. These phones are screwing everything up. Every time someone calls, it just comes in.
864-810-1039.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
864
810.
Anyways, the thing is, it's sidetracking and diverting me off of what I was saying, which is that this psychotic behavior is tipped over into not to being able to discern reality, and that these storylines, there's so many of these things that are brought to people's attention that are literally beyond the pale. It's literally, you cannot even believe that it's true, but it is. And so that becomes this weird line of reality where people are into this reality that does not exist. All right, so you're calling in. It's like the fourth time, and so now they're not on the line. We just put another number in there for you to call, so it won't interrupt.
Number.
The rest of the other guys. Yeah, it's 864-810.
You're a bitch.
864-810-1039. I'm a bitch.
You're a bitch.
Yeah, okay, man. Whatever you say, bro.
You're a bitch, buddy.
Hey, no problem, bro.
Stop being a bitch.
Hey, yeah, I ain't a bitch, bro.
That bouncy love, bitch.
I'm a bitch.
You go into the real world. They think they're in World of Warcraft.
Well, we're not hearing us.
Jesus,
I don't think right
Jimmy,
now.
what's going on there?
I don't know. Somebody called up to say I was a bitch. So
And
I
it dropped
guess
this call. Yeah, we're just talking about how people play games a lot get caught up in that. That's what Monty was just saying. That caught up in so much that they don't notice the difference between that and the real world. Kind of like the movie The Island, right? Where he's playing the Game Boy and he's wandering into the drug cartel's plant field, right? But I think what I've found with VR is that the more you play VR, the more you appreciate the real world. It's kind of the opposite effect. I mean, you get really into the VR world, but when you get out of the VR world, I mean, you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. It's exhausting in a certain way. You want to get out of it when you get out of it.
You got 734 there, Jimmy. 734.
Yeah, Bernays.
Hey, Bernays, what's happening, man?
I just called up to give you some support. I'll sit back with a mute on if you need it.
Oh no, we're just taking your call. Yeah, we just wanted to take your call. So
we're here, so we're happy there's a call. So please talk.
Of course, Monty, you want to get out and get your drinks in fast. No, I just came in just to make sure everything's going on and say hello.
Well, thanks for calling in and giving the support. Yeah, we're not, the thing is, what Jimmy's been talking about, and we've all been talking about tonight, about trolling, like I've experienced it on a grand scale, trying to, moderate the Mandela Effect subreddit on Reddit, right? I mean, that's grand scale stuff, right? And we haven't really experienced it that much here on our channel, on the YouTube channel. We experience it, certainly, but not like on that kind of scale. The reason we're bringing it up is that it is coming up more. And the fact that it's coming up. Hey, who do we got?
We got 650 just called in. Sorry, Epic, keep going. Hang on there, 650. Sorry, Jimmy, I'm running.
So
I haven't called them back.
Well, the thing is that why it's important to talk about it is that it's not just one person anymore, right? That's what we're trying to say. Is like, and it's not just people anymore. There's bots involved, and it has been for years. But the fact that you can actually hire a company, literally hire a company, to throw bots out there on your behalf.
Yeah.
That changes the game. It totally changes the game. And we're just sitting here trying to do a show, and if we get targeted that way, we're going to get hit by it, and how are we going to deal with it, right? Luckily, we haven't had to deal with it on that kind of scale yet, but there are people who have been, and there are places that are dealing with it right now. So it's not going to get better until we identify the problem. That's all I'm going to say about it. But and that's why we're talking about it.
I haven't had any sort of experience like that. However, just a very small comedy show, and it's very hard to troll a comedian. It's like, you suck. Yep.
Yeah. 650.
You suck more now. Yep. It's like, yeah.
Let's hear what Mr. 650 says.
Mr. 650 is Mr. SF.
Hey, Mr. SF, how's it going, man?
Good to hear from you.
Doing good. I offered to patch you through for a couple of lines, but I never tried calling back because I didn't want to rain on the parade. Sounds like you had enough tech issues.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Skype, if there was an update or something. I mean, usually when someone calls, you just merge the call and it comes in, but for some reason now my Skype is not merging. It's taking calls and dumping the other call. So,
Mine isn't merging either, but it hangs up on the new caller.
Mhm.
And the reason these guys are in is I actually call them back.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
not running. Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so yeah, go, come on in, SF. Let us know what you're thinking about.
Yeah, I've been having an oddball day too. I was supposed to go out to the farm, and first I found out I was shadow banned on Twitter, and then just kind of went downhill from there online. I spent way too much time on it, and then I'm sitting here. I'm just now getting around to eating.
Yeah, I haven't even.
But yeah, I know about the troll. I know about the troll armies, among other things.
Yeah, and it's been.
A lot of them are bots.
Yeah, and it's like as soon as
scary.
And as soon as people start, or shows or stations, or people start getting traction and some good information starts getting out, that's when you see these influx of these AI bots. I mean, yeah, sure, there's real people. I'm not saying that those people don't exist. They do. But, I mean, clearly, I'm a bitch is not really much of any of a reason other than just to call up and, say something on the air or whatever. But, I mean, that really doesn't...
Kind of puerile is the fancy word, right?
Yeah.
Puerile.
So, I mean, the thing is, people want to take shots at me because of what I'm saying. That's all well and good, but that doesn't take away from the information that we're putting out right now. The information that we're putting out is solid information, And Epic Journeyman, did your girlfriend work as a person in chat rooms?
Hello?
Hi. You're going to have to call back on the other number.
No way.
Epic
No
Journeyman.
way that happened.
Epic,
And we're back.
He's back. He's back.
Epic Journeyman, your girlfriend worked for the Federal Bureau of Investigation in chat rooms, did she not?
No, my friend's wife did, and that was exactly her job. And this is going back 10 years. And for a couple of years while we were working together. The thing is, we're not working I worked with her husband, right? We worked the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, he's the guy who turned me on to Reddit. Ironically, he said, "Hey man, you should check out Reddit. You'd like it, but those people aren't your friends." And I know because my wife works for the FBI in the chat room, and this is her job, right? And so her job was to go basically spur conversation, listen in, but also spur certain conversation to see who's the extremists in the groups, right, and identify those people.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people that this is a very, very, very real thing. I mean, it's not like this is something we're making up. This is what they've done for years. I mean, since the internet evolved, from the ether, so to speak. So I mean, it's not something that's new.
No.
But the fact that there's people employed specifically for that purpose.
Yeah,
specifically.
And it's like this. It's like some dude's in a chat room over there, and he starts talking about all the guns he has and how he's a veteran and this and that and da-da-da-da, and then he starts asking you...
Tell ya what.
Yeah, and he starts asking you what kind of guns you have. You got any guns, man? Hey, man, you know where I can buy myself a gun? Hey, man, you selling any guns? Hey, man, how do I get this, how do I make this sawed-off shotgun? You remember that guy that got killed over that? The whole case was about him having a sawed-off shotgun. So, somebody asking you to, about your guns in a chat room, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's, we're just trying to put this forward.
The famous words he told me, the guy who turned me on to Reddit in the...
Jimmy.
Aren't your friends. That was his advice. You're going to love it. You're going to like it, right? Those people aren't your friends. That was his advice.
Yeah,
so,
you've got the thing about like keyboard warriors, but now what we're talking about is the weaponized area where you've got the alphabet agencies or groups of people that are professional because they're getting paid, and then you've got not the lone nut, but you've got just the people that hate that we exist.
There has to be an incentive behind all this, because...
509, turn off your radio, please.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
I mean, I do like hearing my own voice, but...
Here's Monty Dean, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Well, I'm here once a week. Anyway. Go ahead.
Jimmy. 509's here, Jimmy.
Hey, Clyde, how's it going?
Hey, number one, don't call the men in the little white coats. But I want to know why you can all see me, and yet all I can do is hear you and your voices.
Blah, 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 blah.
Said it.
I'm here. So this person just keeps calling in and calling in. And so it's taking me off the air with you guys when that happens. So I can't turn it off. I mean, I try to figure out how to make the stop taking calls automatically, but it won't stop. So go ahead. I'm sorry I didn't hear what you said, Clyde. I was cut off.
She was saying, let me paraphrase, that we can see her, but she can only hear us. And I'm not sure if that's a metaphor, Clive, or if you think that that's actually what's going on. We can't see you. You don't have a camera on that I know of. So but we do hear you loud and clear.
Well, actually, I am a camera. It's like the Truman Show. It's my Truman Show. Somehow you can all see everything about me, where I am, what I'm doing, every detail. Yet all I can do is hear you. You're in some other world, and I want to know why. Why can't I see all of you like you can all see me? Where's the portal or the way to get where all of you are if you can't prove you're with
our portal,
me?
Our portal is radio right now. The phone call you're on, that's our portal. That's all there is.
I know.
We can't see you.
We can't see you,
Yeah,
but
we can't see.
but we can hear. I mean, just like you. So but when we're talking about situations that we see, if it seems familiar, it's only because we're all living in the same reality. Hey there.
It's okay. Nobody can tell me if they do, they'll be killed. And I want to know why I'm Clyde.
Well, because you called in.
You said that one time.
Yeah, when you called in, you said your name was Clyde.
I know. They say your name's your identity, so I said I'm Clyde. But when I look in the mirror, I look like the same girl that was 5 years old and is now into her 70s. And yet, I'm not. I'm on a beach in Hawaii way back in 1970, and this isn't even my real body.
Well,
Don't
you got to try.
the little white men in their coats. I'm not crazy.
No, you just got to try to, do the best you can to try to get through this, stuff that we see every day. That's the hardest part about this stuff, is having to deal with it on a daily basis.
I know.
It's
when
hard.
when I said I was Jesus, they'd take me in and put me in the loony bin, and the questions they'd always ask me, do you see people who aren't here? Do you hear voices that aren't here?
Mhm.
That's the problem. That's the whole
Well, see, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Is that a lot of these things that they say are, you know, if you told me that you were Jesus, I'd say hello, Jesus, because I mean,
well,
because,
and they do, but how do I prove it? I've tried to walk on water. I tried.
well, you don't.
I
The thing is, the thing is, you don't have to prove it. The thing is that you're right when you say that you're Jesus, because everybody is part of Jesus, right? Is not everybody?
Right, correct.
So you're correct. So what you're saying is not untrue. So the thing is like we were talking about that one time when you called in, is like you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know what I mean? The only person that you have to prove anything to you is yourself, you know, and I think you prove to yourself over and over, day by day, 365 days a year, year by year, that you're a survivor and that you can make it and that you got it going on for yourself. And, you know, I think, you know, a little times things get out of control, and sometimes this information is a little bit powerful, you know, in general, the bad stuff that goes on in the world. And I think, you know, if you try to take some minutes for yourself, like we talked about before, where you, you know, you try to go sit in the sun, you let the sun beat down on the back of your neck for a little while, and, you know, a minimum of 10 minutes you want sun on the back of your neck. You know, you want to try to get your bare feet in the ground, you know, like maybe sit in a chair, put your head, maybe do a little praying. Hey, speaking of praying, did you ever give that hotline a call to see if they were any good, that you were going to call for us, just check them out, do that report? Did you ever do that?
I did, but I didn't get anywhere because, number one, they only refer you to places where you have to pay to be rehabbed, and then they connected me to a counselor, and she was like some bot, some robot, I swear. She's like who you talk to when you call in about a bill, and I got nowhere, and I dumped all my feelings on her, and she was like the psychiatrist I went to. They sat there and stared while I talked my head off.
Well, maybe
and
they
never
maybe
did
it's,
a thing.
maybe it's maybe it's just because they're trying to, maybe you might be misinterpreting, you know, maybe they're just listening to you intently to try to really understand what it is you're going through. And maybe it's not that, maybe you just perceive it to be something that it isn't. Maybe they're just listening, you know, because a lot of times, you know, listening is one of the most important parts of a conversation. You know that, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm the best listener in the world, but what good is it? I need answers. I need answers.
We all do.
I can't find them. And you say it's perception. And if I have perception, then I can change the world. Well, I can look in the mirror, but unless the eyes in the back of my head can see, I can't find the perception.
Well, the thing is perception goes right along with perspective. So it's not only what you see and how you understand it, but from where you're sitting and the angle of how you're able to look at your landscape. So the thing is all things
but
be...
But those are metaphors, Jimmy, you're saying. Those are metaphors.
They are metaphors, but I mean, the thing is it's a metaphor, but I need a way to describe the internal place where we all reside. So when we close our eyes, it's infinite. There's an infinite amount of space. My eyes are closed right now, so with my eyes closed, I don't have walls around me. And so then the thing is, what I was saying to you the other night is, a lot of times what we see in the world that we don't like is what we don't like about ourselves. And so what I was...
Totally, because that's all I am is myself, and everything else is the mirror reflecting back to me.
Well, that's
the problem.
That's what's so great, is that all you have to do is be yourself. And that's why, you know, we really appreciate you being around the show and calling in to let us know, you know, checking in and telling us how things are going, because, you know, we're all going through the same things you're going through. And, you know, this, by you being here right now, you're helping somebody out there, because there's somebody out there that feels the same way you do, but they can't call in, or they can't, you know, express themselves. And so what you're saying right now is probably helping somebody. And so when you're when you're going through this stuff and then you try to get through it, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping everybody, because like you said, if you're Jesus and Jesus is a part of everybody, then when you're helping yourself and you're changing yourself, that's how you change the world. That's what I was saying. You're not responsible for the world in the sense that the weight of the world is on your shoulders. The only part of the world that you have control over is yourself. So if you make your world as happy and as nice and as comfortable and as clean as you can, then your life will look different. That's the landscape I was talking about. That's the perspective I was talking about. That's how you get the perception that you were talking about. Because when you're looking for understanding, you have to take it back to the inside. Have to go inside on it. It's an inside job.
I'm trying to follow and understand, but I do that every day. I start out happy. I got a
do me a favor.
I got a buttload of debt. I have to sell my house to just find enough money to keep in the bank, and I'm going through all this shit that the goddamn evil government is doing to us. They're ready to, they're doing their, what is it, a population down to...
Listen.
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 If I don't either get into a rocket ship and get off of this planet or find a time machine, we're all gonna be wiped out.
Do you want my prescription for a little bit of serenity?
Yes.
Okay. So
please and thank you, please.
You're welcome. Now, so you say when you wake up, you're in a good mood. So what I want to suggest to you that you limit your intake of information. So allow yourself to go look at some news stories in the morning and later in the day, but allow yourself to get through at least till noon before you start looking at any information. And this time it'll give you some time to sort of don't develop, because I mean, you know, it happens to me too. I get up when I'm happy, and then I read this article and I'm like, oh, and then I read another one, I'm like, oh man, you know, and then by the time noon comes around, I've read so many articles, you know, I'm stuck in this trap. So don't get caught in the trap, you know. Don't get caught in the negative feedback loop, the trap. Just try to get out of the trap. So stay in that happy moment, that happy place. What is it that makes you happy? Do you like eating good food, or what is it? I mean, seriously, what makes you really happy?
Well, the only thing, I'm a Libra, so I'm miserable because I'm lonely, isolated. I might as well be on a deserted island. I moved someplace 2 years ago and thought I'd get a new start and make friends, but I haven't made any. And
well, you have us.
Just me and my dog. So today I went to Verizon to get my phone figured out because it's a long story. Anyway, so after that, I went to TJ Maxx and found a purse, and I was so happy. And then I was gonna go to Home Depot and get a few plants because I'm trying to sell the house. And I got in a parking lot and pulled in, and all of a sudden, Phil Collins' song, that song is the key to everything. I know what you've done. I've been waiting all my life for this moment. It was on. There was a lady next to me polishing the heck out of her car, frantically next to me, like it's like telling me that this is it. I'm at the crossroads.
I have a piece of advice. I do.
Okay, jump in here,
So-
Epic.
So this is something that I do. I try to do every year. I missed last year, and I kind of regret it. Every year, I take 2 weeks of no media of any kind, electronic media, anything, right? Like, in other words, and I don't mean just go camping. I mean, you live your normal life. I mean, you just do not watch TV. You don't listen to the radio. You don't do anything. All you're allowed to do is read a book or go talk to people. That's it, right? Now, 2 weeks is a long time to start for the first time, so maybe just try it for a couple of days. But you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Within 3 days, your sleep cycle will entirely change, completely change. The first thing you need to do is watch the sunrise and watch the sunset. Make a point of doing that. If you sleep through the sunrise, it's no big deal. I mean, you're sleeping in, right? You might need the rest. But try to get in the point of doing that and getting that, what it is called circadian rhythms, right? And you get your circadian rhythms reestablished. Right, and after 3 days, the first thing you're going to notice is if you're being true to this idea, is that everybody's looking at their cell phones or looking at something else and not watching what's going on around them, and it's a pretty startling contrast, actually. But you're going to be living real life for a moment, right? And if you do that you don't have to do it forever, but if you try it for a week, I guarantee you're going to see some results. And I think you should try it. I really do highly recommend you do that.
Okay, well, thank you, Epic. It's what I need because I can't even listen to music. It's like jerks me around like a yo-yo.
No media, zero. You either talk to a person or you read a book. That's all you're allowed to do. I'm serious. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah, and you were supposed to get the 4 agreements too. I don't know if you ended up getting it, but maybe.
I've got it.
Well,
and
there you go.
I read them, and that's how I live my life.
Well, hey, you have the benefit tonight also because Bruce McDonald is here, and so is Monty Dean, and they have these guys all of us have to deal with powerful information on a regular basis, and so Bruce, maybe you could offer up some words of advice for meditative purposes or ways to calm yourself. Like, what do you do to calm yourself and to eliminate some of this negative information that we take in on a regular basis, man?
Well, I don't let it imprint as much as I used to years ago, like 5-7 years ago. The real intense stuff, like let's call it the dark night of the soul, for me that happened around 2003, 2004. I kind of had a foreshadowing of what we're all in now, and some people still don't get it, and we're in it. But what I would say to this particular caller, who we call Clyde, is that right, Clyde?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say ground yourself. Like, eat more protein and get yourself grounded, because your mind is just kind of running away there. You're not in a good frequency for being you.
I have to constantly be doing mental gymnastics. It's
Why?
Because I feel like Atlas holding up the world.
Why?
The Bible, because I'm very hypersensitive to what's going on around me. When I'm around people, the way they act and react around me, even my dog, my Weimaraner, I feel like every move I make is has some kind of ripple effect, kind of like I'm a nuclear bomb, and if I sneeze wrong or choose the wrong thing to put in my mouth or tie my shoelace or any tiny little thing. They say the devil's in the details, and it's like I sense, especially if I go in a grocery store, it's like all the eyes, the side glances, they're all holding their breath, wondering what I'm gonna take off the shelf or look at. It's like it's too much for me. It's like somehow I'm holding the whole universe together, and I'm trying to turn in my subscription and tell that God, I don't want the job, but it's like I can't get free of it. It's like
I had to. I mean, I got a lot happier when I resigned my job as general manager of the universe, being responsible for what people do. Oh, you know, you should be doing it this way. Oh, have you ever thought about that? Da 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 da. And you know what? I'm on my own business. I keep my side of the street clean. You have your business. I have my business, and that frees me up. You know, like you got to free yourself up so that you can take time for yourself and relax for a minute. Monty, do you have any parting words? So we got like 2 minutes.
I would like to thank all of you. I am so grateful for all your advice, and especially Epics. I'm going to do that. I just have to just withdraw from all of it, any kind of media, any kind of input for a while. It's just TMI.
Mm-hmm. It's hard at first. But at least 2-3 days. You'll see.
And I would add, definitely have a rest. Like I try and rest 1 day a week because I can see. I've seen it too many times. You burn out. It's every day, constantly. It's like no, you have to remember why you're doing it, and find your passion. My passion is playing guitar. I don't play in front of other people because I'm not that good, but at least I'm playing. You find that passion, and you'll notice that you're tapping into that energy, that you're happy, and you'll notice time fly because you're in that 0 point. If you know what I mean, it's fine. Even
that's very true. I used to knit and crochet, and
perfect.
It was good therapy. Now my therapy is cleaning the house.
Well, try busting out them old.
What about plants?
Try
my
bust.
What about plants? You said you were going to Home Depot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It is my plants. They working in the yard. That's good therapy for me. Planting my plants and feeding them and watering them and all that. That is good too. That does make a difference.
We're out of time, everybody.
What kind of plants?
We're out of time. Just stay there. Stay there. We're going to leave. Aftermath FM, thanks very much. It's been a great, powerful week here broadcasting with Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero. And in the microcosm, Billy Ray Valentine and Mr. Gates and David Knight and Kriston T. Harris and Steve Poikinen, for everybody. And thank you very much for being here. And now we're going to see you next week on Monday with the Wild Ride. And hopefully I got my phone squared away by then.
You know I just can't seem to take the right direction.
We're clear. Stand by. All right, there we go. We're done. Another week has gone by, just like that. Am I here by myself?
You are not. You are not.
Are you there, Bruce?
Yeah, I dropped the callers.
Okay. Good. Well, here we are. Did you? I am dead tired, man. I got to get something to eat. Did you guys want to keep going? I can go in the other room and eat while you guys continue. Or what's going on? Did you guys want to keep going?
I think we're good for tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
All right.
I gotta go do some stuff too.
Yeah. Well,
But-
hey, let me let's end the show over here and but stay here and let me talk to you guys here in a minute. So after we get done here, just stick around for 1 second here. So hey, thanks everybody. It's been a good week. We really appreciate you guys hanging in and sticking out and chatting up over here. We really appreciate everybody very much. And I just want to say thank you, and we'll see you guys next week, next Monday. Oh no, we'll be here Sunday. And Rio is sick tonight. He's got a headache, real bad. He's got a real bad migraine today, so that's why he didn't join us, and we didn't do the normal situation. So there it is. We'll go now. See you guys later.
We talking about peace. A piece of yours, a piece of mine. A piece of mine, one nation, under a groove. This is a world premiere. This is a world premiere. This is a world premiere.
A war outside and a bomb in the street and a gun in the hood and a mob of police and a rock on the corner and a line full of fiend and a bottle full of lean and a motto on a scheme, yeah. These days of frustration keep y'all on tuck in rotation. I duck these cold faces, post up, feed 5-4 for bases. Dreams are reality's piece. Blow steam in the face of the beast. The sky can fall down, the wind can cry now. The strong in me, I still smile.
I love myself.